We all know there are certain NBA players who don't get the respect they deserve. Alex Caruso was some random balding white guy on LeBron's team until he was awesome in their 2020 title run. Then he finally got recognized. Well, this year, every contender has somebody who is flying under the radar for casual fans. Let's start with the favorites to win, the Milwaukee Bucks at plus 550. Their underrated player is Bobby Portis. Years ago, Bobby punched a teammate so hard it sent him to the hospital with a fractured face. That player then left the NBA for Europe. His nickname is Crazy Eyes because when he gets angry, which happens a lot, his eyeballs bulge out of his skull. But that was Bobby before the Bucks. 2 years ago, he signed a prove-it deal in Milwaukee and became a different player. He's led them in three-point percentage at 42%. He was key to them winning a title. Portis just signed for less money to stay because he's finally found peace and a key role. Next, the Celtics are at plus 600. Their underrated player is Robert Williams. His nickname is Time Lord, which started as an insult, but has become a positive. When Rob Will was drafted, he was late to a press conference because he overslept and missed a flight to Boston. So they nicknamed him Time Lord because he's always late. But then his game got so good, it was like he was stopping time to go up and block a shot. Time Lord. He went from promising to better than Marcus Smart on defense. And I know Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year, but I don't care. Robert Williams is more important. Boston was plus 30 in the finals with Williams, minus 54 without him. An insane 100.5 defensive rating in the playoffs, all with a partially torn meniscus. Clearly the most important defender on the best defense. Next, the Clippers at plus 700, Norman Powell, who still doesn't have his championship ring from 3 years ago. How is that even possible? He went home for vacation from the Raptors after they won it. COVID hit, so they couldn't go back to Canada, had to go to Tampa. Before he could grab the ring, he was traded to Portland, then the Clippers. This whole time, it's been in a safe in the Raptors front office. My point is, a lot of people have forgot that this guy won a ring. Norm Powell has been one of the most efficient players in the NBA. I think he is so good as a two-way player, he'll be in the conversation for Western Conference All-Star. Nobody's picking him to do that. Everyone talks Kawhi and PG and John Wall. Norman Powell is the Clippers' third best player. Next up, the Warriors at plus 700, Kevon Looney. He's changed positions, resculpted his body, overcome career-threatening nerve damage. Loon has 3 rings, but has improved so much. He went from inactive, didn't play on the first title, reserve player in the second title, to key starter last year. And he's only 26 years old. How is he that young? With Draymond Green breaking his trust with his teammates, Kevon Looney is now the Dubs' vocal leader in the locker room. People underrate him because of his stats. There is so much more to his importance. Next, the Nets. No one. Honestly, I want to say Ben Simmons because we've forgotten what he can do. The preseason has been a disaster. He totally airballed a 10-footer, but okay, he was just outside, no big deal. What about the preseason games? He's still passing up shots in games. He's afraid to shoot threes. He might be afraid to score at all. Next up, the Suns, Cam Johnson. He's been underrated ever since he was drafted 11th.
He went what?
11th.
Cam Johnson 11th.
Yep. It's right on the screen right there.
Wow. Wow, bro.
The Suns are still so high on him. Reports say they refuse to include Cam Johnson to trade for Kevin Durant. Now he is starting over Jay Crowder, who got so mad he demanded a trade. ESPN doesn't even have Cam Johnson in their top 100 players. They have Mitchell Robinson above him. Next, the Sixers at plus 1300, Tyrese Maxey. And hear me out. I think by the end of the year, Tyrese will be the Sixers' second best player. He is totally underrated at that spot. 60 points in 54 preseason minutes. Only 9 players got media votes to be a first-time All-Star this season. Anthony Edwards, Evan Mobley, Cade, SGA, both Tyrese's, De'Aaron Fox, CJ McCollum, and Jalen Brunson. The Heat's underrated player is Max Strus. Look at this ridiculous journey to get to the NBA. He started as a D2 player, wasn't drafted in 2019, a G League contract with the Celtics, cut by the Celtics, G League contract with the Bulls, torn ACL, cut by the Bulls, G League contract with the Heat, then finally an NBA deal and starting in the conference finals. He did all that in just 3 years. Now, this random D2 player is battling with Tyler Hero for a starting spot. He's a 41% three-point shooter with plus defense. People are still underrating Max Strus. The Nuggets at plus 2,000, Bruce Brown. When you talk Nuggets, people mention Jamal Murray, MPJ, Nikola Jokic. Bones Highland is getting love for six-man. No one mentions getting Bruce Brown. He's one of the least talked about impact players in the league. Dude shoots 41% on catch and shoot threes, but guards almost every position. If there's one thing we saw last year, the Warriors could score way too easy on the Nuggets in the first round. Brown is going to make such a difference. And don't be surprised if he plays in crunch time. How is a guy on the floor when it matters most not even mentioned? The Lakers at 2,700. Okay, they don't technically count as a contender, but it felt wrong to leave them off the list. And not to mention Lonnie Walker IV. Did you see his drive and pass to LeBron in traffic in the preseason the other night? He had 26 points against the Clippers, more than any other Laker. Dude is not going to be a great shooter, I admit that, but he is athletic, gets offensive rebounds, gets to the glass. I know you guys didn't watch the Spurs where he came from, but you watched the Warriors, so you know what good off-ball movement looks like. Well, watch Lonnie moving without the ball to get open. That is the kind of smart basketball, high-energy stuff the old-ass Lakers need. I'm not saying he's going to be this year's Malik Monk because he can't shoot the three, but he will have the same kind of impact. We also have to mention the Pelicans at plus 3,000, which is a great bet because they are now my dark horse after seeing opening night. At this point, Brandon Ingram is underrated. Everybody talks about Zion. I think Jose Alvarado and Herb Jones are getting their love, but BI has taken another jump. Maybe it's channeling Stretch from NBA Street, but Ingram is key to their ceiling. It is so rare. A guy who scores 28 points opening night doesn't need the offense run through him all the time. Think about a big three of CJ, Zion, and Ingram. For that to work, they have to be so unselfish. I love seeing that attitude in a young team like this. They have the Lakers pick this year. So if LA is as bad as they look, there's a small chance they add Victor Wembanyama, and I am not joking. So obviously, the Lakers need to look to trade Russ as soon as possible. 0 for 11 against the Clippers. Right now, it's kind of tough to share the floor with Russ if he comes off the bench because they both don't shoot. So when will Russ get traded? I took a look at the top 7 names who are the next NBA star to get traded. Check it out.